What's up, guys? Time to start getting some content on the Conscious Strength video channels. Gonna start off by just doing simple Q&A videos, series on that. I'm gonna put these up on YouTube. We'll see how long I last there. I also have a Rumble channel for Conscious Strength too, so I'll put these videos up on those two places. Follow wherever you prefer. And our first question in this video series comes from our friend Rowdy Rebel Rule. Love that screen name, Rowdy Rebel Rule. They ask, hey, what are your thoughts on weed, Jordan? Are you a fan of the Mary Jane? Interesting question. Got a lot of experience with that topic. But my answer to that is yes and no. It depends. It depends on the intention behind the usage of the THC of the Mary Jane. So, of course, there's a lot of people out there that use marijuana because they don't want to use some sort of pharmaceutical for their issue, whether they're having trouble sleeping, whether they have just no appetite and they're trying to eat, they're trying to give themselves the munchies to get some calories in them, get an appetite, or stress relief as well, right? So it doesn't only go for marijuana, it goes for the usage of anything, food, quote unquote drugs. I don't really like calling something a drug because it could be used as therapeutic. It could also be used as the negative connotation of a drug. Anything, right? Depends on the reasoning behind the usage, and is it a good reasoning behind the usage or a bad reasoning? And of course, when people are actually doing something with a bad reasoning, they're usually lying to themselves and giving themselves some justification as to why they're doing the thing. But when it comes to smoking or eating marijuana, sometimes people use it rightfully. A lot of times, people do not use it rightfully, and they're using it as a form of an escape. Back in my 20s, I'm in my early 30s now, I'm 32. Back in my 20s, I was using it as, a lot of times a party drug. A lot of times I was using it as an escape because I was stressed out, or I thought I was stressed out, and I would be using it just to relax, to let my body relax, let my mind relax, to escape. And unfortunately, a lot of people use marijuana as escapism. They're trying to escape their problems, so they think they need to smoke some pot, and it's gonna help me. It's gonna help me relax and focus and feel better, or whatever the case, right? Feel better. It's kind of the issue. People are just doing this shit to feel better, to handle their emotions, because why? They can't handle that shit on their own. Can't handle their problems. They don't want to handle their problems. They're trying to avoid it, so they're gonna smoke some pot, forget about it, and then what happens? Next day comes around, problems are still there, so what are they gonna do? Reach for the pot or reach for the whatever their chosen escape is, and do it again and again and again. So my answer to that, am I a fan of the marijuana? I don't think it should be illegal. I think it should be 100% legal. It's a God-grown plant. Nature grows it, so why do we have some government or self-proclaimed authorities telling us what we can and can't do with our bodies, especially when it's a natural plant? And really, I'm a fan of cannabis for the industrial purposes, whether it be hemp rope, hemp concrete, making foods out of the hemp seeds and the hemp oils. I think that is where we really need to turn to in the form of cannabis. But in terms of like smoking the stuff, most of the time I'm not a fan of it. And you often hear a lot of people with their experiences. They say, I was smoking for years. Once I stopped smoking, my mental clarity came back. I was so much more productive. And I think that's the case. That was the case for me. I was living in the state of Washington last year, where the marijuana is legal, very easy to get. Pot shops are popping up like Starbucks around there. And it's almost too easy to get. I was smoking pot a lot more back then. Then I moved a little east, moved to Idaho, where it is illegal. Unfortunately, it's illegal. But I haven't used marijuana, THC, anything like that in like 6 months now, 9 months now. And Yeah, I mean, for the first little bit, it's difficult to throw that crutch away, but I would actually agree with that experience of a lot of people out there in saying that their productivity came back, their mental clarity came back. So I am a fan of Mary Jane, depending on the situation. But again, I think many people out there use it as a form of escapism, and I am not a fan of it in that capacity. And then again, I think we also need to look at the industrial aspects of cannabis, and it's unfortunate that in many states, people can't grow it, people can't cultivate it, and use it for industrial purposes. I think it could be a big benefit in that regard. So I hope that answers your question there as to my thoughts on it. And there you go, friends. Done.